When you think about Vermont, a lot of what you think about is how it looks. I mean, we're dealt a pretty good hand. It's a beautiful environment, but I think Vermonters have been smart enough not to mess it up. And one thing we did was get rid of billboards. In the 1930s, Vermont was, like everywhere else in the country, becoming a car culture. Billboards sprung up all over the place. In 1936, there were 750 large billboards scattered around the state and thousands of other small ones. On the side of the people trying to get rid of billboards were people like famous journalist Dorothy Thompson, who made the point that Vermont has beauty to sell. Writer Vrest Orton said what the billboard should really say is, behind this sign lies Vermont. And the people wanting to keep the billboards were understandably the businesses who were advertising on them and the billboard companies who were selling the billboards. In 1938, the legislature decided to put restrictions on billboards. By the mid-1940s, the number of billboards in the state had dropped in half. There were legislative efforts to get rid of these remaining billboards, but they failed in the 1940s and the 1950s, and if you grew up in Vermont in the 1960s, you know there were billboards here. But in 1967, a freshman legislator named Ted Reilly decided to take on this issue. He was a wealthy man from South Burlington. He owned an island on Lake Champlain, so maybe, you know, this was, if it didn't work out, it wasn't going to be the end of his career. He'd had a friend in the state Senate named Jim Jeffords who said that if you get it through the House, I'll get it through the Senate. In the end, Vermont banned billboards, and it was the beginning of the environmental movement for which Vermont is now well known. It was led in those days mostly by Republicans who were pushing things like a bottle bill to deal with the littering problem and Act 200 and Act 250 to deal with planning and land use. So in a way, the billboard struggle that started in the 1930s has given us the Vermont that we know today.